What's up, guys? Welcome to Reseller Real Talk episode number 4. My name is Chris. I go by Daily Refinement Online. In this series and on this channel, we talk about what it's like running an online store for a living. So let's get straight into the topic, which is, has eBay forgotten small sellers? I get this question pretty often, and the underlying theme is, has eBay forgotten small sellers? We small sellers created eBay, and we are the reason that eBay exists. Now, in my opinion, and before you click out of this video, I think that they have not forgotten small sellers, because you can start on eBay with no money and no licenses for free. You can just download the eBay app, find something in your house, list it. eBay will give you traffic. You can pay after the item sells. That's pretty low investment. Pretty much anybody can start. That's the small seller, right? It's not the equivalent of starting, let's say, a pizza shop. It costs like $100,000 to get a location. You have to have a lease, you have to have employees, you have to have equipment. Much more difficult to start a brick and mortar. That's a lot more expensive. At the very least, if you wanted to start a pizzeria out of your own kitchen, you would still need a food handler's permit. There are still some licenses required to be a legitimate pizza seller, right? But for a reseller, in California at least, getting a resale permit is free. You can just apply with the state of California to get a reseller's permit, and now you can buy stuff tax-free. So at the very least, you could go to Costco, scan everything in the store, see what's selling for more money on Amazon or eBay or Poshmark. One example of that was Pendleton was selling blankets at Costco, and people in the Facebook group and I saw on Instagram were flipping these blankets that were like $30 to $40 for $80 on Poshmark, eBay, Amazon, wherever you wanted to sell, because they were cool. You can do that with no license. And if you do apply for a resale license, which is free, that means you could buy it tax-free. You don't even need to operate as a business. You can be a sole proprietorship and just pay taxes on that as an individual. So that's a really, really low barrier to entry. And another thought is, when you are a small seller, you still get traffic. You don't have to pay for traffic like some platforms. If you don't pay, you don't get any visibility on eBay. If you have a good item at a good price, somebody can sort low to high and still find your item. You do not need to use promoted listings. Promoted listings is a way to guarantee yourself a certain amount of traffic. And I see people complaining, I promoted X amount and didn't get X amount. That's actually more of your own fault than eBay's fault, because if they're giving you the traffic, it's your job to make it convert. If you have an item that's the lowest price and it's the best quality of that particular item, and you list it correctly, and eBay gives you the traffic, it will convert. The only reason why your promoted listings wouldn't work is if the item that you have isn't that desirable to begin with, might be priced a little bit too high, and it's in front of a customer that's not really interested in that. So for example, if you're looking for a North Face jacket and eBay promotes a Columbia jacket that's similar but 50% cheaper, there's a pretty good chance that customer might consider at least clicking on that item. And if you look and it's the same type of soft shell jacket but 50% off and another name brand that you recognize, you might actually convert. So I think eBay actually is built for small sellers. I consider myself still a small seller. I have 18,000 items on eBay, but if I think about the startup costs of me starting this store, it's less than just opening a coffee shop. It requires a lot less effort and a lot less capital than starting something as simple, in my opinion, as a coffee shop. And when I look at a coffee shop, to survive, a coffee shop should have 200 cups of coffee sold a day. That's not easy. 200 cups of coffee means you've really got to be dialed in with your processes. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to capitalize on just like the 2 miles of people around you to sell 200 cups of coffee just to get by. You're not even like killing it at that point. You might make $30,000 to $70,000 a year owning a coffee shop that you spent $100,000 to start. That is like normal business. And I consider a 1 person or 2 people, husband and wife coffee shop, that's a really small business. That's still considered by the IRS and the government as a micro business. Anything under 15 employees, I think, either 15 or 20 employees, is not even considered a small business. It's like a micro business. So for people who are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, you're working for yourself, you are doing this just to get started, maybe you're in between jobs and you don't want to get a real job, so you just sell on eBay, I think it is catered for small sellers. Now, another thing that is catered for small sellers is the fact that if you have a larger store, you typically make more money. So with me, with 18,000 items, I'm making more profit at the end of the day than 9,000 items. It is a little bit more complicated having a bigger store, but in the end, I am making more money than if I had a smaller store. And I can actually control how big my store is. So instead of a 9 to 5 where I can't really dictate how much work I'm gonna get or the boss is gonna give me, or my boss might continuously change my job, working for myself, I can decide how big do I want my store. And I know that more items usually means more profit at the end of the day. Now, here is an important caveat. It's not double. I'm not earning twice as much money with 18,000 items as I am with 9,000 items because there's different kinds of expenses. I am part of Team No Inventory at Home. I don't want inventory at home. So I have to pay a premium to work in an external facility. Here, I work in a commercial facility, so it costs more money than a residential storage unit. At a commercial unit, I have security, I have individually alarmed, I have electricity, so it costs more money, but I can also say to a future worker, come work here, it's a commercial facility, there's a professionally cleaned bathroom here, instead of saying, come work in my 3rd bedroom, because it's a little bit sketchy for some people as they don't want external parties in their home. So I pay a premium to let people work here, so that costs more money. But it might be cheaper for me to buy poly mailers 10,000 at a time versus buying them 100 at a time if you're just getting started, right? There's some economies of scale as you have a bigger business, and in other parts of your business it's much more expensive. So I think overall it's important to think eBay is actually still catered for small sellers, because I still consider myself a small seller, because the startup costs compared to a regular business are much lower, and I can actually pick what items go into my store. Everyone keeps asking me, like, how do I get a deal with Samsung or a deal with Nike? How do I open up these accounts so I can sell these really awesome sneakers that I pay 100 for and sell for 900? Now here's the thing, Nike doesn't allow you to do that. If you get a brick and mortar shoe store and you get an account with Nike, you can't just say, I only want those holy grail shoes that sell for 10 times what I paid for them. They're not going to do that. They're also going to give you socks, shorts, quarter zips. They're going to give you shoes that are not as popular that you have to buy for $35 or $40 and try to sell for $70. Those same shoes you pass on when you go to Ross or Marshalls, or you go to one of these brick and mortar stores. You don't buy that colorway of that shoe because it's not as popular. So you see that 3 months later, that store is trying to sell that same pair of shoes for $29.99. They're losing a couple of bucks just to get rid of it. That's kind of the reality of bulk buying. You can't say to a retailer or a distributor, give me only the 20% of items that sell for 80% of the money. That's not how it works. You can only do that if you individually pick each item, but that's very time consuming. So the reality is you go out, find the best items you can one by one, which is totally fine. I used to do that. I still do that now. Actually, all of the items in my store, I personally buy. I'm no longer doing bulk buying because I don't have enough space. If you live in an area where space is a little bit cheaper, you can do that because you'll have an area to store items that you can't list. I only buy items that I can list, so it requires a lot more upfront effort. I'm spending 19 hours a week, 19 to 20 hours a week looking for the items that are in my store. That's a long time. That's almost half my work week just working on finding the stuff in my store. It doesn't include listing, shipping, packing, all the good stuff, right? So I think the reality of reselling is it is built for small business. Think of it as you have an opportunity to decide how big your store can be. If you want a store with 100,000 items, you can do that. If you want a store with 1,000 items, you can do that. But I'm just telling you from experience, having a larger store usually means more profit, but not double. But at least it's a way for you to increase your wage and your pay. Having a larger store, you have to figure out how to do that with the same 24 hours in a day, right? So figure out how to get a larger store with the same time that you have, because nobody accidentally finds a lot more time that they can work on their business. That's not really how this works. You just have to become more efficient. I think that once I had a baby, it really transformed the way that I look at time. And for me, I personally can't really go back to sleep after the night feedings. So I'm really struggling with that part of it. I have enough time to sleep, but I'm just not getting high quality sleep right now, and I'm working on how to figure that out. But that's the reality. Now I really value time because I understand I only have X amount of time to spend with my family and my business. So I'm trying to get my business done in the least amount of time. So that's become sort of my metric for who's successful. Who has the most time? Who has the most time equals who's the most successful. Who has the most time is usually the person who's the best at reselling. Okay, so if you are really good, you buy amazing items, you're really fast at listing, you have a really good inventory system and you never lose things, that person has more time than somebody who's not good at looking up brands. They have to spend half an hour per item to find out which it is. They're really slow at listing. They have no photography station, so it takes them an hour per set of photos to take the photos. That person's gonna have less time. So I don't look at it as that person is not successful because they don't have a lot of items listed. I look at that person as unsuccessful because they don't have any time left in the end of the day to do what they really want to do, which is probably not reselling. So part of Reseller Real Talk is to let you guys know that 90% of reselling sucks. Okay, it's totally fine because 90% of a regular job sucks. 90% of a relationship sucks. The 10% part, the honeymoon stage of anything, is amazing. Okay, but that's not the reality. Marriage is not like the first year of being married. I've only been married for a couple of years, but I'll tell you that the honeymoon period is the easy part, right? It's making sure you have your finances in order, making sure you have a plan, making sure you have health care. How interesting is that? It's not. It sucks, okay? But it's awesome if you think of it as in you're gonna have a really outstanding, stable business. If you take care of the numbers, you're gonna have an outstanding, stable relationship if you take care of the basics. So let me just think about this in regards to your spouse or your business. If in your business you have amazing shipping time, you photograph items really quickly, you list really quickly, and you're really knowledgeable about your specific niche. Let's say that you sell pots and you know everything about every pot. You're a wizard. You go into a thrift store, you figure out all the valuable pots just by looking at the shelf. You're amazing like that. That's gonna be amazing for your pot resale business. If you have a relationship with somebody and you're on fire as far as the basics, which in my opinion are making sure that you have quality meals, make sure that you rest, make sure that you have time to spend together that's completely unadulterated, meaning you're not sharing your closet while you're with your significant other, that's like a 0 out of 10 as far as quality time with your partner. If your phone is out, it reduces the quality of your time by 80%. I said it. You heard it here first. I feel like when I get these messages from people saying, I'm always on my phone, sharing my closet, I'm always looking for bolos, I'm always looking for the best deals to run and go and find, I think to myself, that person's unsuccessful because they don't have any time. They're always on their phone. That's like a level 0 in life. I don't agree with that being a high quality of life. I recommend you get your work done, go home, leave your phone at work. That would be fantastic. That would be, in my opinion, a 10 out of 10. That you're so good at your business, you don't need to worry about it when you go home. That's amazing. That's truly amazing for me. You're to the point where you're so good at business, you don't need to worry about it when you're with your friends and family, and your employees don't need to worry about their job security. You are an amazing person because you're providing for yourself, for your family, and for people who work for you. We need more people like that. So please smash the like button, consider subscribing. Join my Facebook group with my colleague Tech and Sports. He has a 32,000 item store, and as odd as this sounds, he might be the happiest person that I know because he does eBay in the least amount of time. And he has a store that's twice as big as mine, and he has more time than me. He's done it like 4 p.m. every single day. He has time to run the Facebook group with me. I consider that happiness, time. Okay, time equals happiness. Money isn't the root of all evil, but I think Kanye West said it best when he said, not having it is. Okay? Not having money is the root of all evil. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Smash the like button, consider subscribing. Peace.